क्या हटना यार क्या है रे सुभाष
सर सामने आपकी सर
सर यहाँ पे
महेश जी
सामने सर महेश सामने हाँ भाई सर एक सर इधर देखिए अभी कौन सा लो एंगल छापता है यार ऊपर की लाइट ले रहा है सर ऊपर की लाइट ले रहा है नीचे लो एंगल सर यहाँ पे सर इधर देखिए ना सोलो सर एक सोलो सर एक इधर आया वो बताना वो नो ओके लाइट तो मारो यार
I am deeply honored to welcome them. Please give a huge applause to our chief guest, Honorable filmmaker Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, the gifted author Mr. Vinod Pandey, talented stage and film actor Mr. Joy Sen Gupta, and in-demand publisher Mr. Bikash D. Niyogi, who has been the true inspiration and reason for this event. Before I request Mr. Niyogi to say a few words, I would like to speak in brief about him and his publication house. Mr. Bikash Niyogi is the managing director of Niyogi Books, which is one of the youngest, fastest growing publishing house in the country. Started in the year 2004. Today, Niyogi Books has over 400 titles to its credit that have won many awards for excellence in both content and production, for different titles ranging from arts, photography, heritage, architecture, culture, history of South Asia. With the vision of Mr. Niyogi, diversification has been made to cover Indian English fiction, English translation.
It is my pleasure to welcome you all here today for the occasion of the launch of the book Sahavadi, the story of a concubine, which will be released by the renowned filmmaker Sri Mahesh Bhatt. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I welcome Mr. Joy Sengupta, who will be lending his voice to a part of the narrative. Welcome, Joy. I'd also like to welcome the author, renowned filmmaker, Mr. Vinod Pandey, who has a way of converting the facts into stories, which he has proved time and again through his movies as well as the earlier book, Don's Wife, which is also a marvelous read. This book, Savadi, like his previous work, with the pen, is unputdownable, and I am sure you will see why within in the next award itself. I would also like to welcome the August gathering present here. To name a few, Mr. Pradeep Chandra, who is already here, Mr. Pritish Nandia and Samar Khan, who is on the way, who are on the way. And I hope you will have an enjoyable evening. Welcome to you all once again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I now call upon the author, Mr. Vinod Pandey, to invite Mr. Mahesh Bhatt to unveil the book. Wow, that's a memorable moment. Thank you so much. Before I call Mr. Vinod Pandey to talk about his book, it would be befitting that I tell you briefly about him. 1970 का दशक एक औरत के लिए अपनी शादीशुदा जिंदगी से बाहर निकलकर एक मैक्स्ट्रा मैटल अफेयर में जाना बिल्कुल नामुमकिन सी बात थी. But here is Vinod ji. He made his first Hindi feature film on this difficult theme, and viewers all over the world celebrated it. A civil servant with the British government, broadcaster with the BBC, maker of documentaries and several ad movies, owner and creative director of an advertising agency in London. But Vinodji gave it up all to finally be the producer, writer and the director of his first Hindi film, Ek Baar Phir. The movie not only became a very big success, it became a ticket back to his motherland. He went on to make 8 more films, including much talked about Ye Nazdikiyan and Sins. Mr. Vinod Pandey continued to touch upon controversial topics in his television serials too. He made 6 TV serials, including the highly noted Reporter, Air Hostess, and Deal Line. He has been the chairman of the jury of several important film awards, including the India entry for the Oscar on 2 occasions. Lately, he has turned into an author to fulfill his literary inspiration by writing his first novel, Don's Wife. Once again,
थैंक यू मदद करती यू नो एक छोटी सी शिकायत है डिमोनेटाइजेशन का मुझ पर कोई असर नहीं हुआ पुराने ज़माने में कुछ दिन के लिए गलतफहमी हुई थी कि हमें भी छुपाना पड़ सकता है कहीं तो बिल्कुल रवा हो गया यू नो इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग हैपन्स विद मी महेश मैनी टाइम्स पीपल डू आस्क मी आजकल क्या बना रहे हो बड़ा यार सिकुड़ जाते हैं इधर क्या बोलूँ क्या नहीं बोलूँ समझे ना तब मैं मुझे शरारत सूझती है और मैं कहता हूँ भाई मैं एक 3D फिल्म बना रहा हूँ 3D फिल्म बना रहे हैं सर पहले डबल टेक देते हैं 3D आप सीडी बना रहे? हाँ, क्या टाइटल है? तो भैया टाइटल है संघर्ष जद्दोजहद स्ट्रगल. So you know, in the moment where you are trying to search your entire being, what the devil do you do? एक वक्त आता है कि you suddenly find there are no phone calls, जिनसे थोड़ा धन की उम्मीद होती थी वो भी कन्नी काटने लगते. Then you have to do something. You try to reinvent yourself. और फिर you आप अपने कोनों को टटोलते हैं भाई, what is it that you can do? And that's how. First, I embarked on a rather a gigantic mission, a novel called Beyond Frontiers. Beyond Frontiers actually was also conceived as a very big epic saga on television. And it was approved by erstwhile Doordarshan, and it was the power that it was, and the empire that it was. But then soon it lost its value in the face of the competition provided by the general entertainment channels, satellite. But satellites went on a different tangent altogether. So we found there was nothing happening. I embarked on that as a kind of a closet writer. हाथ से लिखता था, dictionary वो करता था. But then along the journey of writing that, it occurred to me कि there are popular genre में चलो. So I started writing Dawn's Wife. And Dawn's Wife से थोड़ी हिम्मत खुल गई. And then Savri, the story of a concubine. सबसे अच्छी चीज़ ये जो मुझे शेयर करना चाहूँगा महेश आपसे कि not only that you one got the fulfillment कि भाई जो कुछ कहना कह सकते हो, कोई किसी तरह का प्रतिबंध नहीं है. There is no any kind of a restriction कि भाई इतना लिखो, ये करो, वो करो, उतार दो जो कुछ मन में आता है. So one was able to do that, and this became the refuge. I will be honest with you. It became the therapeutic exercise for me. जब बहुत लगे ज़माने ने दबा दिया है काफ़ी, and if you succeeded in writing one page, I tell you, the high that one got was wonderful. So that's what happened to me, and that's how I am here. I'm writing the third book called Destiny. I'm more than half complete on that. And I tell you, I will not bargain this. I don't think. I would like to make films. If I have, there is a very unemployed director going, so anybody, I'm here. And of course, I have also made a short film. Other than making 4 films on my own, on my madness, from my own pocket, एक छोटी फिल्म भी बनाई है. आपको दिखाना चाहूँगा पनाह, because I think I ought to show that film to you. 21 minutes here, so I will come one day and show it to you. Please, I very much request you, जितना लिख सके लिखे फिल्म मेरी किताब के बारे में. I will be very happy. I have to sell myself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vinodji. And now I would like to request to our esteemed chief guest, Mr. Mahesh Bhatt, to say a few words. But wait.
You're not going to introduce me and all that.
Yes.
I think let's fast forward that.
I know.
Fast forward करना है ये.
I know कि महेश भट्ट जी को कोई भी इंट्रोडक्शन की ज़रूरत नहीं है, पर थोड़ा सा फॉर्मेलिटी के लिए.
It's unavoidable.
Okay.
Fast forward.
Okay then. So I would like to invite Mr. Mahesh Bhatt to say a few words and give blessings to Mr. Vinod Pandey for his new journey.
It is so refreshing to hear the author, my friend, once my rival. We began a journey almost at the same time. He had made Ek Parfir, and then he was making Ye Nazdiki, and I was making Arth. He was the biscuit from London, and I was the nipped in the bud young Zafar the Terrible, who was jumped into the dustbin of history till somehow I managed to survive the fire that they had already arranged for me, the industry. The industry is too keen to write people's obituary.
And somehow I survived that. I made Earth. So we were, in a way, rival. And there's another person, a memory that holds us together, is an extraordinary human being called Jay Dixit, who was my professor in St. Xavier's and Vinodji's writer. So we, in a way, have been strangely stitched together. So when Amit Khanna, my friend, came to me and said that there's a book launch and Vinod wants you to come, I said, of course, it is his right that I should be here on the platform. Anji, हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
Intervention. You see, one has to go back. Nostalgia is very important in life. Dikshit ji and I saw Earth at the Dimple Theatre. Trial finished at about 3:30 or something like that. भूख लगी मुझे बड़ी जोर की. And we are coming down Pali Hill. चलें यार लंच का वक्त हो गया, जाना चाहिए नहीं जाना चाहिए, ये बात लगने लगी. मैं I could not hold myself. चलो. और महेश जी, I would like to revert back to Mahesh now. दरवाजा की घंटी बजाई, मेड थी, उन्होंने दरवाज़ा खोला और मैं अंदर घुस गया. महेश बालकनी के नज़दीक ज़मीन पर बैठे हुए अखबार पढ़ रहे थे something. And my first words were, I am angry with you, I am jealous of you. How dare you make such a beautiful film? Is that right or not? In the evening, we met each other again at Shavanaji's place. And my God, he was so angry with me. You come into my house, you tell me this, I won't do this. How, you have to be, he was very, very complimentary, very warm about this. That I was so honest about it.
Okay, so I've got two mics now. So the point is that that when he asked me to come, and I think it was really important that I wholeheartedly embrace this invitation. So thank you for this honor. And there's something you said there, that this writing has become your refuge. I think this is the most truthful confession that you have made, because they say writers write either with an overflowing heart or from a heartbreak. When your heart is broken, you write, or when you are after overflowing with some kind of an unexplainable experience of life which has invaded every pore of your being, which seeks expression. And I think most of the books that are there on the shelves, adorning the shelves, were written by people who use writing as a refuge. Because most of the time human beings write to escape from the unexplainable mystery of life and the certainty of death, which is staring at all of us. So the written word is man's last combat against insignificance. We all know that we are transient creatures, that we flash through the skies of life, the dark skies of life, light it up for some time, depending on the power that we have in our DNA. But ultimately, we fade out and leave the memories that you once existed. And writers leave their footprints on the sands of time. So this is our last desperate attempt to stay relevant. We, in a way, all of us fight transience because we know that the culture chews us and spits us on the sidewalk and asks for more. But I think that's what makes us so unique. I say us because I'm also a writer who has used the written word as my tool of communication, because I know the bandwidth of Hindi cinema or television doesn't give you that privilege to express some very subversive, very complex views which you can do with the written word. So I think you will find your romance with writing has just begun, and I think it will, the way you have embraced it, I'm certain that you will delve into spaces which you perhaps never knew existed within you. And that's where the storytellers actually take a leap. And I'm certain that you're on a threshold of something unique. I see Ek Baar Phir of Vinod Pandey. a new Vinod Pandey emerging from what you think is the dead end. Because what you see as a dead end is in fact nothing but a new beginning. And I come to applaud you and say that you're a brave man to make this new beginning, because you are the master of this journey with no financier, no distributor, no star to breathe over your shoulder and to dictate to you what should be the next word you should punch into your computer. It's you and you alone who are going to be the person who's going to decide that. And I think this is perhaps the greatest phase of your life where you are really tasting absolute and total freedom. But we have to be very, very grateful to people, our publishers, who in this age and time, when they know, when everything is being reduced to 140 characters of Twitter, and the attention deficit disorder is a reality, where we have entered the digital age, and where you still find these kind of marvelous bookshops. I think it's very brave of the publishers to make huge investments in storytellers. And it's a relationship which has always been a complex one. I hope you both make this marriage work for a very, very long time. And from your smile, I'm certain this is going to work for a very long time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You have overwhelmed me, my friend. And we had another common fan, Bhatt.
Oh, yes.
Ah, there isn't a dull moment when Bhatt Saab is around. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I request Mr. Joy Sen Gupta to perform a dramatic reading from the portions of the book Savri, the story of concubine. Let me share Mr. Sen Gupta's profile with you first. Mr. Joy Sen Gupta is an acclaimed television, film, and theatre actor. He has been trained under the legendary theatre director Ibrahim El-Ghazi and has worked with stalwarts like Habib Tanveer, Safdar Hashmi, Barry John, and Govind Nilani. He also has been a voice artist for actor Chris Ryan in the movie Captain America and the Avengers. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joy Sen Gupta with the portions of book.
Thank you. Vinodji, would you like to introduce the portion, or do you want me to straight away get into that? Okay. You want to? No. Okay. Okay, so this is a midsection from a particular chapter, so it's up to your imagination. Having noticed him enter the water, she became even more daring and retreated deeper into the sea. Realizing the danger in her romp, Rana dived after her and grabbed her from the waist. He pulled her out of the water with a steely grip and thrust her towards the shore. Once in knee-deep water, he covered her as much as possible with a scarf which he had quickly slung around his trunk in a knot before diving after her. With her arms still in Rana's grip, as they walked towards the shack, she suddenly stopped and beckoned with a winsome smile on her lips and a wistful glint in her eyes. "Ji Rana ji, stop for a moment, please." There was an intense quiver in her voice. Rana also stopped, and while trying to figure out the expression in her eyes, he teased, "What happened? Marna chahti hai? You want to die?" "Hi." She let out a deep sigh and then mewed romantically like a young girl in love. "Absolutely. I sure feel like that." Rana turned away from her, bursting into an uncontrollable laughter. She persisted. "Just turn your face this way, Rana ji." She had a dreamy somberness in her eyes. Rana obliged and stared at her searchingly. After a moment's gaze in his eyes, she held his face in her hands and claimed his lips. It was a wholesome kiss, deeper into the mouth, ripe with feelings. As she withdrew slowly, her voice quivered with emotion, saying, "You have changed me completely, Ranaji." A certain wistfulness returned to her eyes as she continued, "I never drank before."
When a filmmaker makes a transition from the world of images and sound to the written word, it's a moment to celebrate because what he actually clamors for is more freedom to express his deepest thoughts, which he perhaps cannot find in the space of cinema that exists in the times that we live in. I see Vinod making a new beginning. This man who hit the headlines years back with Ek Baar Phir is making another beginning. This is the Ek Baar Phir journey of the writer who's going to use words and climb to unimaginable heights. So I've come here to congratulate him and applaud him and seek inspiration from him to go on and on and on till we burn out.
Sir, today is the first day movie release Diaries. What kind of response is getting from the fans of Bollywood?
Well, I do not know what kind of response it's getting, but I saw the film yesterday and I was staggered by Gauri's work. I was awestruck by Alia and Shah Rukh. I have never seen him on the screen the way he has emerged in this particular film. It's an out-of-the-box film. It's a very brave film. It's a film that makes Indian cinema proud. It's a new turn into a zone which is going to bring many surprises. Many new filmmakers will now speak this kind of a language.
Sir, recently Ranveer Singh promoted Jack and John's brand, Jack and John jeans in a sexiest way. It's necessary to go out of the way to...
Music shuru ho gayi hai.
Sir, please. Sir, what is your take on that? Is it necessary to do this kinds of sexiest way to promote a brand of jeans? Necessary?
Well, I have no reason to put any Lakshman Rekha on anybody's way of living life or doing things or thinking. But if your society has laid down certain rules and norms, then people in my industry are well advised to stay within the space that is allocated. Otherwise, you'll have to face the music of the forces that control our lives these days.
Thank you so much.
Okay?
क्या इस बुक की जो स्टोरी है आपकी फिल्म में देखने मिलेगा हमें?
देखिए, मैं जब वो सीन्स पढ़े जा रहे थे तो मुझे लगा कि मैं पूजा भट्ट से बात करूं कि जिस्म 3 जो है उसकी कहानी यहाँ से ली जाए.
Thank you so much.